Hello, welcome to my webinar, How to Eat Healthy While Traveling. We'll get started in just a minute or two. I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer. And then probably at 7:03, we'll get started. All right, we will get started. Welcome to the webinar on how to eat healthy while traveling. My name is Miranda, and I am a licensed nutritionist in Minnesota. I work with clients over the phone, via Skype, and in person. My business is called Thrive Nutrition. And I work with people who have chronic conditions and how to help their body heal naturally from those chronic conditions, as well as helping people who are healthy but want to optimize their health. So I work with a variety of people. And if you wanted to check me out, you can look on my website at www.thrivenutritionmn.com. And I wanted to talk about this topic today because it can be a pretty big pain point for a lot of my clients. It can be really tough to eat healthy while you're traveling, either for vacation or even for a work trip. And because it's so difficult, I thought that we could talk about some pretty good tips on preparation and things you can do while you're there to continue on with those healthy goals that you're wanting to succeed at. And so today we'll talk about some decisions you can make ahead of time, what food you can bring, how to determine what hotel room to choose, even some helpful accessories to have along with you. And then once you're there, what you can do at restaurants and even at the hotel to help you eat healthier. And the first thing would be, before you go, would be to have a little planning session. And even just 5 to 10 minutes spent planning or envisioning your trip can really help you eat healthy while you're traveling. And it can be helpful to make the decision on specifically what foods will be a big no-no for you and which foods you're going to be willing to slide on. And it's okay on work trips and vacations to slide on some foods because you're not in total control, or at least you don't have as much control as you would have if you were at home in your own environment. And if you do decide on having some slide items, then limit your slides to once a day, because the combination of multiple slides can add up to weight gain and digestive distress. Another thing before you go would be to check out the hotel. And specifically, I mean looking for hotels that offer a mini fridge in the room. That can mean a lot for your stay. And basically, it gives you the freedom to house your own health promoting foods in your room for easy access. And that's really important for being successful, is making sure that it's easy to be healthy. And if you have those healthy foods in your room, that's going to promote a healthy lifestyle. Another thing you can do before you select your hotel is look on Google Maps or any other website that lets you look at a map to see how close the hotel is to surrounding grocery stores and markets. I always try to look for a Whole Foods if I'm ever going somewhere, and hopefully, try to get it within walking distance of my stay. And the closer the hotel is to a healthy grocery store, the easier it is to make a stop or two throughout your trip. And then checking out breakfast options that the hotel may provide for you would be a more budget-friendly thing to do. They don't always offer super healthy options, but there can be sometimes hard-boiled eggs or fruit at the breakfast buffet, and that can serve for your breakfast or snacks for your trip. And then lastly, look at review sites like Yelp or TripAdvisor to search the city you're visiting. And paleo can be a good keyword to use, or farm to table is another one that I like that's not listed here, but you can also search for gluten-free or grass-fed. And then also before you go, make sure you have the right accessories. Take your own reusable non-plastic water bottle and travel coffee mug to use throughout your trip. And staying hydrated can be a key to your success. And it can be difficult to stay hydrated if you're running around all day without a water bottle. So just make sure, if you don't have a water bottle already, invest in one. It's never too late. And I recommend glass or stainless steel, and then you're able to refill it whenever you're around a drinking fountain, and then it will eliminate the cost of having to purchase plastic water bottles, which can also help with the budget, and then you waste less. And then just make sure to empty out your water bottle before you go through security. I've made this mistake a number of times where I'm always thinking that, I need to drink water. So my water bottle is always full when I get to security, and then you'll always be pushed aside. And then they've never thrown my water bottle away, but it does take some time for them to test the liquid. So don't make my mistake, dump it out or chug it before you go through security. And then another way that drinking water will help you with your health goals is that sometimes we can think that we're hungry, but we're actually thirsty. And so when you have a water bottle in your purse and constantly available to you, you can make sure that you're hydrated, and then that can quell any thirst that could be mistaken for hunger. And it also helps with sugar cravings. And another thing I just would suggest, just in general, when you're traveling, is bringing some things from home that comfort you. And that can be bringing in your supplements that make you feel great, or some tea bags with your favorite tea to have in the morning. Really trying to keep a semi-normal routine while you're traveling is really crucial for overall health and longevity, especially if you travel a lot for work. Another thing that you can do before you go is bring some of the right foods. So if you have perishable foods, you can use a cooler or a cooler shoulder bag that you can get from Amazon, along with gel packs to keep foods cold during your travel. And then if you are flying and if you're unsure if your ice source is security friendly, you can take a large Ziploc bag and get ice from a drink shop once you're in the terminal. And they actually let a lot of foods through. You might be surprised. I had a friend who recently came up through Florida and she brought salmon through her purse. So they're pretty lenient with foods. And then you can also store foods in stainless steel and spill-proof, BPA-free containers. Some foods that are really travel-friendly include raw fruits and vegetables, like carrots and broccoli, hard-boiled eggs, pre-cooked sweet potatoes, jerky, some bars, like Lara bars, single-serving packs of guacamole or even just avocados, slices of raw milk cheeses. Dry foods are perfectly acceptable, raw nuts and seeds, individual packets of almond butter or coconut butter, and then wild-caught canned salmon or fresh water sardines, and fruits like apples, bananas, and cuties. You can also take your own travel-sized unprocessed sea salt and pepper, and even there's little mini olive oil bottles that you can bring that you can substitute in for your salad dressing. And feel free to bring any dessert foods that you enjoy, like dark chocolate, cocoa runes, Hail Marys. Those are all delicious. And then restaurants typically offer processed iodized table salt, dressings made from hydrogenated oils, and gluten and sugar bombs for dessert that can add up to bloating, headaches, and unpleasant digestive distress during your trip. So you can circumvent that by bringing some of your own healthy foods. Once you arrive, there are a few things you can do at your hotel. Sticking to your regular schedule will be helpful. Plan to eat meals when you know you'll be hungry. And if you must wait to eat with your colleagues or clients, bringing some of those healthy snacks and having them on hand to keep your blood sugar stable will help you avoid overeating at mealtime. And then once you arrive at your hotel, plan to stop at the grocery store just before your hotel or just after you kind of drop everything off, so that you can grab those items you weren't able to bring. And it's also a good time to pick up large bottles of purified water if you wanted to do so. Now, once you get to the hotel, if the mini fridge is more mini than you expected, you can use your cooler or a cooler bag and refresh it with hotel ice every 6 to 10 hours as you eat the food and free up some of that fridge space. You can make sure to turn the fridge to the coolest setting if you are packing it full of foods, as most hotels will have it set at the lowest setting when you arrive. And throughout your stay, you can use airtight containers you brought to pack fresh food to take with you, to take out with you each day. So if you'll be gone from the hotel all day, you can take these containers in a shoulder bag like purse or backpack, along with your reusable water bottles, coffee containers, and utensils. Another cool thing that you can do with your hotel room is you can use the coffee pot to boil water to make hard-boiled eggs. Once you're there, there are some tips you can do when you're eating out at restaurants. One thing would be to pace yourself at happy hour. A lot of work functions do revolve around happy hours and going out to eat and around alcohol. But we all know that wine, beer, and mixed drinks are all loaded with calories, and even a minor buzz can make it difficult to make healthy choices at dinner. So a suggestion would be to avoid alcohol or just trying to limit your alcoholic intake. Even have a glass of water before having your alcoholic beverage, or alternate between an alcoholic beverage and water. You can also request, once you're at the restaurant, from your waiter to get their opinions on some of their healthier options. And most of the time, they will have some recommendations for you. When you are ordering salads at a restaurant, you can ask to sub the dressing for olive oil, or like I mentioned, you can always bring your own olive oil and then ask them to hold the croutons. You can also order any burger dish without a bun. Just ask them to hold the bun. And if you'd like to avoid the items fried in vegetable oils, sub out the fries for other sides that they offer, like grilled vegetables or rice. And you may not know it, but a lot of restaurants and delis will let you substitute fruit or salad for fries and chips. And don't be afraid to customize your meals. So skip the mayonnaise and opt instead for low-calorie mustard, or healthy fat-filled avocado and plenty of extra veggies. You can always ask for sauces on the side. And you can look for certain words on menus that can give you clues to how healthy they are. And words like grilled, steamed, baked, roasted, and poached are all good indicators that they're healthy. And most of the time, you can order any entree dish that includes meats like steak, fish, or chicken, and then also asking them to double the veggies as your side instead of any gluten or processed dairy items. And I would suggest that you try to avoid vegetable oils, since they are higher in omega-6s, which cause inflammation. And so what you can do when you are at a restaurant is see if there's an option to have your meat or vegetables cooked in butter instead of the typical canola oil. And my last extra tip for you would be to relax, not only when you eat, but just whenever possible. Traveling in general, but for work especially, can result in being stressed and rushed. And when your body is feeling that stress, it automatically shifts into a flight or fight response. And what this means is that the digestive system shuts down. And biologically, you don't need to waste energy digesting food when you're fighting for survival. And if you're eating under the stress response, it can result in heartburn, cramping, gas, digestive pains, belching, intense hunger, and minimal satisfaction from the meal. And none of these symptoms are ideal for a work trip. And then you can elevate your parasympathetic response, which is the rest, digest, and absorb response. And you can make that more dominant during your meals by two things. You can do that by giving yourself more time to eat. So if you only give yourself 5 minutes for breakfast, then your next step might be giving yourself 10 minutes for breakfast. And then the second key to that is activating deep breathing. And ideally through your nose the entire time. And not only just raising your chest, but by raising your belly when you breathe in. And that can be a deeper breath that stimulates relaxation nerve endings at the bottom of your lungs. And when you're in this parasympathetic rest, digest, and absorb dominance response, then you will be inducing optimal digestion, assimilation, and calorie burning. And who doesn't like that, right? So that was my presentation today. It was a quick one. I hope it was helpful for you. And if you are local in the Minneapolis area, you can join the meetup group. That is the Minneapolis Holistic Nutrition Group. Or again, check out my website if you have any questions or want to look at some previous webinars I have done. And thank you. Have a good night.